Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of On My Way From Work. Maybe today the start is going to be slow or clumpy. I don't know what the clumpy means, but it sounds like cranky, I wanted to say maybe. Because I was on spring holiday last week. It was very pleasant, thanks for asking. And today is Tuesday. I think this is going to be like 22nd episode or something. So that's something. And yeah. So I'm working on notifications as I was working on them for the past 2 months almost. So they are done from the user perspective. Maybe I was telling this recently or last time I was recording the podcast. So, but this time also Zuzka confirmed that she likes it from the UX perspective. So it looks like it's being done, ready to be delivered to the users. So now it's time for the technical chores and stuff like that. So yesterday I was creating backend tests for the functionality that I was not providing tests before, for the risk of it being disposed and not used, because the UX testing might see it as not good enough, so it would be a waste of time for creating the tests. So now it's the time for me to find the motivation for creating the tests. And it was also Monday yesterday, while I was not working for a week, so it was a tough day to jump into the working process and to write tests. But yeah, I wrote some tests for the tasks assigned, created, closed. I was having a discussion with Honza. How are we going to design the tests? Because there are use cases like per the client side, let's say, of the notifications, which means to test that if a task is assigned, the notification is created. But then there is the orthogonal approach that we want to test any notification if it gets triggered or dispatched. There is the settings. Because user can now turn off settings of the email notifications and in-app notifications. So we don't want to test everything with everything, but we want to test that task assignment creates a notification, and then the notification is dependent on the settings. So I created I just realized I kept there one test class that shouldn't be there. So I was thinking about where to put it, not to pollute the domain specific logic, for example a task assignment, and also keep it somehow together, like test the notifications on one place. And on which layer do we want to test it? If we want to test it on a service layer, and we want to test it on the controller level to make it more integration like. So after discussion with Honza, we decided to go with the controller level, and Yeah. Trademark. So the tests are there per the task assignment at the task test, and the getting of the notifications, or like fetching, it's at the notification controller test, and then the settings are tested by the notification settings controller. So it's kinda well distributed. It's kinda makes sense where it is and what it does. So let's see how it goes in the future. Trademark, how are we going to see it, if it's a good design or not. And also I got review by Honza for the notification cursor, because we want to fetch the notification by cursor, not by paging. So every time we fetch the notifications, a page of notifications, it gives us the cursor for the next page, where the cursor marks the last notification that got fetched. And Honza wanted it to be more properly done, because now I just remember the ID of the last notification. Honza wanted it like more proper way, like it was in the translation keys. So I was kinda not happy about it, because when I started to implement the cursor, I was like, it's a lot of logic, and I'm a bit scared about it, and maybe I should reuse the logic. And Honza told me before, no, it's going to be easy, you don't have to reuse it, just implement it next to it and it's going to be fine. You don't need sorting and anything, so it's going to be easier. I was like, okay, let's do it that way then. So I'm going to use the ID. And yesterday I got a review that maybe you should use the existing logic, make it more general and reuse it. So I was like, yeah, I'm doing the tests, so now I should switch the context to this one. So I was not very happy about it, so I left it for today. So I have like two branches, one branch with the cursor and another branch for like the new development where I have the tests. So maybe it's going to be a bit of rebasing hell when I'm going to rebase the tests upon the cursor. It was really hard for me yesterday, like remembering what was done where. So I was just adding commits of the new tests up the pile, and today I was switching to the cursor work, so it was kind of hard for me to do it that way. So yesterday I was not switching the context, I was just writing the test, and today I was implementing the cursor. So about the cursor, I hope I pronounce the cursor the right way, because there might be a drinking game based on it, on my bad pronunciation, because I said it many times in this episode. So let's see. Also, let me know, because when I speak too much about some serious things, I tend to do some kind of joke to make like a mental space for myself, to clean up my head and bring the new topic I want to talk about afterwards. So I make a joke and it's kinda makes me the space. So maybe it's also beneficial for the listeners, that if you listen about something, then you have the time to process it. So let me know in the comments, please. How do you like it? So let's talk about the cursor. So the cursor work, I made it as the translations are done, which brings a bit of not so straightforward logic, because the cursor remembers the last values of the sorting columns. So it remembers, for example, in my case, it remembers the last ID and the last created at. And by today's discussion with Stepan, it's because the translation key may disappear in the meantime. So we don't want to rely on ID. We want to rely on the actual sorting values. So then we get new values by the last sorting one, even if the last value gets deleted. So it brings more challenges, because now we need to sort by it, and the sort is dynamic in the keys. So you can also choose ascending or descending, which is kind of hard if you want to put it into a query, into a JPA query, because it's not like a value that can be easily inserted, like the ascending or descending direction. That's the word. Thank you for waiting for the word direction. It's highly appreciated. So you can see now I'll just joke, because I was thinking about something too hard and now I don't have the mental space to speak about something else. So it might be disruptive for you, so let me know, please. I'll try to work on it if there is a demand. So I looked into Honza's code. How is he doing it? And he's just composing a query through a builder, and then executes like query from a builder, which was kind of hard for me. I wanted to stay with the static query, so I am passing created at timestamp, Postgres timestamp, which was kind of pain to create, because to create a Postgres timestamp, according to ChatGPT, you have to create Java instant, and from like the epoch milliseconds, and then from the Java instant you can create the Postgres timestamp, which can be then passed. It wasn't working because it didn't know the type, so ChatGPT told me to type it explicitly, to cast it to a timestamp, the null value, and then it works. So yeah, so the query is there, static query, and I'm passing it the created at Postgres timestamp, possibly nullable if the sort is not enabled, and then I pass it the ID, the last cursor ID which I had. So that's how I'm fetching the cursor. I'm thinking about, I'm still comparing by the ID, which was something that I had before, so maybe it's just overkill, but it's standardized now. So I'm fetching it like this, and then I have the tests for it. So I wrote a test with 105 notifications, testing notifications, which are added to the database, and in a loop, in 10 loops, 10 iterations, I'm fetching the notifications and checking that they are fetched, and by the next cursor I am fetching the next batch of the 10 notifications, and then there is the last batch which returns 5 notifications, and I check that the cursor is null. So that's the test. I hope Honza is going to like it, because it was like a half of the day work, but I think it's good. It's tested, it's kind of future proof, but there was a lot of work, a lot of time spent on it. We also had feedback round today, so the feedback that I received was that I'm not very fast, or not very, I'm incrementing too slowly, or iterating too slowly, even when I'm not writing the test with the production code. So I will try to think about it. What can I do to move faster? Maybe it will get better over time when I'm more used to the code base and to the code style. So let's see how it goes. And I think that's it for today. So yesterday I was writing the backend tests. Today I was doing the cursor thing with testing. So Cypress tests are remaining to be done, and also there are some minor things to implement. Yeah, I also put there a condition that it shouldn't show the task settings if the tasks feature is off. So it was kind of easy to do. So I was happy about it, that I made some real progress instead of tests, just tests today. Also, we had a new guy yesterday for Super Day. His name was Martin from Slovakia, so he spent the day with us working on the tasks, on some real task about, I think, AWS. Yeah, specifying the path to a subfolder of a bucket. So it's on pull request. So yeah, it was a pleasant day. I was kind of not in a talking mood because I was trying to focus on writing the tests. So yeah, and I'm already home. Today there was a lot of things to talk about, it looks, or maybe 18 minutes. Why? Wow. Or maybe it's because I'm rested after the week. So yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I was pretty pleasantly surprised that there are some views on YouTube. It was like 0 to 1 view a month prior. Now it's like 4 to 6 views on the latest episodes. So it's nice. So thank you for listening. If you type some comments, I would be very glad for any feedback, if you like it or you don't. So yeah, thank you for being here. Have a nice day. Bye.